Welcome back to Yogaxpress. It's all about moving the body to still the mind. My name is Banu Suresh. I'm your host for this program. Today's episode 610 is a real breakthrough as far as I'm concerned, especially because we have a guest who has come back on the show after a very long time. I'm going to save introducing my special guest teacher today for just a moment. I'd like to thank our crew and our facilitator, Roberto Espinel. Thank you, Roberto, for making us look so good out here, setting up the lights, the studio sounds, and everything else within the studio right here. Our crew, Akram Abiskaroon and Miguel Mercado. Thank you so much for putting up with us. We really appreciate you being there when we really needed you the most. Saving Mona Chopra. Mona, you are not just a yoga teacher. That is your third function. I think you are primarily an acupuncturist.
That's right.
And you're also a hypnotherapist.
That's right.
Which part of it do I have to worry about today?
Hopefully none of it. But yoga actually are my roots. It was the first thing that
Oh, it was?
It was actually from a young age that I had began to.
How did you get started? Not with yoga, but also, I think I looked at your bio.
Yeah.
And your yoga journey took you into hypnotherapy? How did that happen?
Well, the yoga actually, which was from a summer camp when I was 7 years old.
Right.
But then later in life, having had injuries and changes in my body where I couldn't just sort of do yoga in the way that people might think of just doing hard postures and all of that, it became a very therapeutic thing for me. And in the process of exploring different alternatives, I found acupuncture, I found hypnotherapy, different ways to help heal, really. So
you tried everything.
I really did. I really tried a lot of different things. In the process, it was very educational.
Right.
And I found these modalities to be really incredibly powerful, and so I went ahead and studied them.
I remember you mentioned while we were chatting just before the taping began, you mentioned you had some issues with your neck. Is that something you're willing to talk about?
Sure, yeah.
You can even just touch on it. We just wanted people to know.
That's right. Well, when I was in my early 20s, I had at one fine day, my neck just entirely went into spasm. I had no idea what was going on. And so fast forward, MRIs, visits to doctors. Finally, I land up in a neurosurgeon's office who was suggesting that I have surgery to correct this herniated disc in my spine, to remove it and to fuse the spine. And he said it wasn't absolutely essential, but he recommended it, so I went and got a second opinion from a non-surgeon, from a neurologist, who said, well, you don't have to get it, you could live with pain, you could take pain meds. And so I began my journey of searching for alternatives, and that's where I found acupuncture. That's where yoga to me became really a therapeutic modality and not fitness, which it's not anyway.
Right.
But it just took it to a deeper level. It was very humbling for me, who was sort of able to do all these postures and suddenly being told you'll never do X or you should never do Y. That I was able to touch into what I consider to be really the essence of yoga.
Right. So I know you were a gymnast, right? Which
I
is why
was,
you found the asana part of yoga pretty easy. Came well to you. So you started yoga at a fairly young age as well, at 7.
Yeah.
So
did it from a young age in summer camp, but it's during the year it's not like I was really practicing it at home. But some things like
but the body's still supple. Surya Namaskar.
Yeah, Surya Namaskar, would remember that, and
right.
My sister and I would do it. And then it was really after college that I moved back to New York and began to sort of find it again. And that was the early 90s, and I think yoga was becoming more of like the scene in New York. And I had a friend who was teaching a class in the East Village, so I started going to her class and then just sort of exploring different teachers and different approaches to yoga until I sort of found what felt more like my home.
Talking about home, I know we also talked about, conditions of stress happen without our knowledge sometimes. And you were talking about every time you made a trip possibly to India, wherever you feel you're going to have a hectic schedule, but at the same time you don't feel the stress.
Right.
That itself helps calm you down, right?
Absolutely. I I think just being removed from the daily grind, even
Right.
if we love our daily grind, has a huge impact on our body, whether it's pain or digestive issues, all kinds of things. And it's, my experience, you shared your experience from many people that I know, patients that I've treated, where they cannot tolerate certain foods here
Right,
in their
right.
daily life. They go abroad, suddenly they're
everything,
eating it,
yeah.
no problem,
Right.
not an issue, losing weight, eating bread, drinking wine. Because there's something about cortisol and stress, and we know it, and now the research is pouring in on cortisol and the effects of
Right.
stress on all of these functions of our body.
So it makes sense to say that the sages didn't have the term cortisol, but they knew what they
Exactly.
were doing when they passed it on to us.
They knew. Now we're like measuring things. And
I remember, I have to let our viewers know, when Mona did her hypnotherapy session, this was like 4 years ago, several hundred episodes, we're in 610, this was around 200, several hundreds of episodes ago. That was one of the most amazing episodes we have taped. It was such a joyful experience. I was fascinated. In fact, I have to come to you, not for hypnotherapy necessarily, but at least for the acupuncture to, keep a check on my cholesterol. Is that
Yeah.
possible through acupuncture? We can contain
yeah, well,
cholesterol levels?
what acupuncture can really do is look at the status of the organs and the way the energy is flowing through your body. And
Right.
let's just say your gallbladder, for example, is not working optimally, so therefore you're not metabolizing lipids and fats optimally. If we enhance that, it is very possible that it could have an impact on it. If the cholesterol issue is due to, let's just say, inflammation,
Right.
of which the cholesterol is sort of like coming to help where the area is inflamed in the arteries, then the acupuncture can help to bring the inflammation down.
Okay, you have a new client. I'm there.
And of course, diet is critical,
Right.
lifestyle is critical, genetics plays a huge role. We can't deny it, especially with cholesterol. There may be herbs, supplements, other types of things. We always look at lifestyle first.
Right.
At least I do. I wouldn't just want to put needles in someone and then they go and just have a
And maintain the
have a
same life.
burger and fries, and then I feel like, oh, I'm doing no. Like you really have to look at the whole life,
Right.
the whole picture.
I'm really looking forward to today's session. What do you have
Yeah.
planned for me?
So,
all
well,
of us.
today I decided to do something maybe a little bit different. There are some of those some days where yoga is good, but you just don't really feel like practicing. You may not even feel like getting up.
Right.
So in this practice, we will not actually have to get up.
Yay.
Exactly. We're going to do the entire practice from a position of laying.
Okay.
We'll vary our body position, but we're still going to be on the ground.
Okay.
We will not be standing in this episode
Hey,
today.
just my style.
Yeah. And while again, it really is the essence of yoga is to be present and attentive, but often when we're doing especially fancy postures, we can get lost. We're moving very quickly.
The mindfulness is
The
not
mindfulness
there.
gets lost. So I would call this, in a way it's redundant, but it's like a mindful yoga or mindful movement. And so
Sounds beautiful.
I would ask that, I'm not even going to, hopefully I'll remember not to say the names of postures, because often when we say the name, the label, it already gives us a concept. Oh, I know,
Of how
child's
it
pose.
should, exactly.
Of how it should be.
Yes.
And so I'm just going to try, it could be a little habit if I say it, forgive me, but try not to say names and more just describe what you're doing so it can be a fresh experience,
Sounds perfect.
which I think really helps the mindfulness, makes it a little easier to pay attention when we are not already saying, I know. And it's what we do that to people.
Right.
Oh, I know how she is. We just heard the name and we already sized them up. And
Right,
the same
right.
thing with these postures. So it's just trying to open up the possibilities of what we could experience in the next 20 or so minutes.
Sounds beautiful.
Okay, great.
So,
So we're gonna start laying on our backs. And so for folks at home, you're just gonna come to a comfortable position laying on your backs. And if you're comfortable, let your legs be straight and let your arms just be comfortably at your sides. And you can close your eyes. And we're just going to take a few moments now to tune in. So I want you to observe what you notice about how you feel in your body as you lay on the ground. You might pay attention to the places where there's space between your body and the ground. And you might notice, where is your body contacting the ground? Where is your body surrendering its weight? Gravity is doing its thing and it's contacting, it's in connection with the ground. And where are the places where there are spaces between your body and the ground? You might notice what's happening with your shoulder blades, the distance between them. You might notice your hips. Does one feel more open than the other? The angle that your legs are at. What part of your feet on the right and the left are contacting the ground? Does your head feel like it's tilted to one side or the other? Just observe. There's no right or wrong here. You're just noting. And then begin to deepen your breathing now. And you may take your right hand and place it on your lower abdomen, anywhere on your lower abdomen, and your left hand on your chest, anywhere there on the chest. And simply notice as you breathe in and breathe out more deeply than you had been habitually or naturally. Notice where you feel the breath. And this is something, if you're practicing at home, you could really take some time and do this for a few minutes. Here we're going to leave it for now. And bring your arms back to the sides. And if your legs are apart from each other, you might just have them so that the toes are pointed more towards the ceiling. You're not flexing your feet just yet, but your heels are sort of in line with your hips there rather than flopped out to the side, so they're more attentive and alert. And have your palms now facing the ground. And we're going to begin with a movement which we'll do dynamically, meaning we're going to do it in a repetitive way, again and again, slowly, rather than going and staying. So you're going to simply inhale, and as you inhale, let your arms come up overhead as you flex your feet. So as you bring your toes towards you, you're going to bring those arms up, and it's as if you're coordinating these movements. And as you exhale, lower the arms all the way down as you let the feet relax. So inhaling, flex those feet, bringing the toes towards the body as you let the arms float up. It's all happening on your inhale. Exhale, floating the arms down as you relax the feet. And again, inhaling, bringing the arms up, flexing those feet. Exhaling, lowering the arms as you exhale, as the feet relax. And again, at home you could do this repeatedly, 12 times. And now rest. Once again, let your feet flop out to the sides, let your arms be comfortable. And just take a brief scan of the body and notice if there's anything that you note already that's different. Nothing to search for, just if you notice it. And then go ahead and bend your knees so that your feet are flat on the ground. If you need to lift your pelvis up for a moment and settle it back down so you feel small of your back contacting mat underneath you or the floor underneath you, go ahead and do that. And then you're going to take your right leg up off the floor, clasp your fingers underneath that right knee, keeping the elbows straight so the leg is away from your body. You're going to inhale here, and as you exhale, draw that knee in towards your body. Inhale, let the knee come away as the elbows straighten. Exhale, draw that knee in towards the body. Inhale. Exhale. And let it be not so much a bicep exercise of pulling with the arms, but just let that leg gently come in and the arms are supporting it. Inhale, come out. Exhale. Now from here, inhale and bring the foot up towards the ceiling. Inhale, straightening that leg out. Exhale, bending it back in. Inhale, straightening. And you may need to straighten your elbows as you do so to allow that leg to straighten. Exhale, bring it back in. Again, inhale. Exhale. One last time. Inhale, straighten the leg up, and this time flex that foot if you hadn't already. Enhance the stretch there. Of course, if you have any pain, ease up and bend that knee. And then on your next exhale, you're going to bend that knee. Bring it in towards the body with the elbows bent. Inhale here. As you draw the leg away, straighten the elbow and release the arm. And now straighten the legs once again. Arms at the sides, feet flopped out. And simply take a moment to observe. You've done this posture on one side, asymmetric we could call it. What do you notice in your hips, in your legs, in your feet? Even in your upper body, do you notice anything in your shoulders, your shoulder blades, your neck? Comparing the right and the left sides. And does one side feel warmer than the other or cooler? And then go ahead and bend your knees again. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now bringing that left knee in towards your body, clasping your fingers underneath that left knee with the elbows straight. Inhale here. Exhale, draw the knee in. Inhale, let the leg float away from the body as the elbows straighten. Exhale. Letting the face be relaxed. Inhale, floating away. And exhale, drawing it into the body. Letting the muscles of the face be very relaxed. Inhale. And exhale, draw the knee in towards the body. And this time on your inhale, you're going to straighten the knee. Bringing that foot up towards the ceiling. Supporting your leg, your hamstring with your hands. Not gripping, but just as a gentle support there. And as you exhale, you're going to bend that knee and draw it back in towards the body. Inhale, lifting the leg up.
have to be the authority really on your body. Inhale, we're going to continue this. That if you need to keep that knee bent slightly, you're going to do that. If you need to have it bent a little bit like this to be comfortable, you're going to do that. Yoga is not about increasing suffering. It's about alleviating suffering, including physical. And exhaling. And we'll do it one last time. Inhale. And this time flex the foot if you're looking for an even more intense stretch. But again, keeping those muscles of the face relaxed. Noticing if you're gripping anywhere and relax the grip. Soften where you can soften. And then exhaling, bringing it down. And release. Straighten the legs. Straighten the arms out to the sides, and just for a moment, tune in now. And notice what you notice about how you feel in your body, with your breath, with your mind, at this moment. And again, at home, you could spend more time with the observation and rest period, or integration as I would call it, between the postures. Here we're going to move on, bending your knees, and having your palms facing the mat, facing the ground. Inhaling, bring the arms up overhead. Exhaling, straighten the knees up towards the ceiling, bringing the legs up towards the ceiling. It's almost like a lever or a pulley. Inhale, bending the knees, raising the arms. Exhaling, lowering the arms. Continue. Inhale, raising the arms. Exhale, straightening the legs up towards the ceiling as you let the arms come down. Inhale, lowering the legs as you straighten the arms. Exhaling, lowering the arms. And one last time, inhale. Exhale. Notice how your abdomen is being engaged when you're doing this. Inhale. And exhale. Take a moment to rest and then bring your arms out to the sides. So you're going to have your arms extended out to either side of you. And if you're practicing with someone, just make sure you don't bonk them over the head, or apologize if you do. And here you're going to inhale, exhale, let your knees come to the right as your head rolls to the left. Inhale, coming back to the center. Exhale, let your legs go to the left as your head rolls to the right. Continue in this way, very fluidly. Inhaling to the center, exhaling as you twist, letting your head go in the opposite direction of your legs. And you'll notice your feet may want to come up off the ground, and so let them. Next time you're back up in the center, come here, let your legs open up and your feet come together. Your arms can stay just where they are. Inhale here. Exhale, bring your legs about a third of the distance, close to where they would meet. So you're bringing them up just a bit. Inhale, stay here. Bring them another third as you exhale. Inhale here. And exhale, let the feet turn to face the ground. Open the legs once again. Inhale here.
1 minute.
And this time, exhaling, bring the legs all the way together.
Viewers out there, if I may interrupt this beautiful session, I just want to wrap up. Our director has given the 1 minute cue. I want to thank Mona Chopra, an amazing yoga teacher, but also an acupuncturist and hypnotherapist. Thank you, Mona.
Thank you.
Our director, Akram Abiskarun. And on switch, we have Miguel Mercado. Thank you so much. And thanks, Roberto, our facilitator. We still have another 30 seconds. I could go on forever.
Thank you so much, Banu. So now here, if you haven't already, those at home, please come back to that position that you started in. And you're going to let your legs be long and relaxed, your arms down to the sides, and now return to that observation. Notice which parts of your body are contacting the ground, which parts are lifted up off the ground, and is that different from how it felt at the beginning of even this short practice? Deceptively simple movements. Bringing your palms together, rubbing them against one another here. And then palming, cupping your hands over your eyes. And simply resting.
Om.